That's not a real STI, that's just a mock-up. Jeez, what a waste of time. Okay, I know it's hard to believe, but not all STIs are real STIs. Some of them are mock-ups, like we've seen with cars that have come through the shop, where customers go above and beyond to make as many changes to their vehicle to make an STI. But on today's video, we're going to have a quick chat about whether you should build an STI or buy an STI. And when I say build, I mean get either a naturally aspirated Impreza or a WRX and add all the bits and pieces to make it into an STI, or just go out and buy a factory STI. So some of the positives about going out and buying a brand new STI, or not a brand new STI, but any STI, is that everything's there. You don't need to worry about anything. With the version 7 and up, you have the semi-closed deck blocks, you have the 6-speeds, you have the Brembos. With the earlier GC8s, as I've said before, there's not a huge amount of difference between them and the WRXs. So you have the better interior, slightly better cams, slightly better gearbox, but nothing crazy over the top unless you go all the way to the RAs, Spec Cs, and so forth. One of the things I had a lot of were customers on their P plates with their naturally aspirated Subarus that wanted to know whether they should keep the car or sell it, or whether they should modify it naturally aspirated, or go out and buy an STI or buy a performance car. And I always used to recommend them with those to make the car look and feel like they want it to, and then when they get on their opens, decide whether or not the car has like an emotional attachment to them. Because if it does, and you really like your car, yes, go all the way and spend the money to do a conversion. But if not, cut your losses, you've had the fun with the car, and go buy either a WRX or STI. And that's when we get to the main topic of the video, whether you get the STI or you buy a WRX and build from the WRX. 9 times out of 10 it is cheaper to get just the STI. But sometimes when you are like modifying the cars, such as like with the GC8s, there's no real... I'm going to get in trouble for this, but I don't see there as much of a benefit of having a GC8 STI. The GM8, different story, 2-door, very rare. But the version 6s and so forth, where you only really have a badge and a few slight differences, it's really hard for me personally to justify. Like, everyone has their own opinion, but I would much prefer to get a WRX GC8 and spend the money converting it to a better vehicle. So getting the 6-speed, putting Brembos in it, and so forth. Just because, one, they don't come out factory with all the good stuff, and 2, it does add value to the car. Like, at the current market of Subarus, it is just ridiculous. Like, people are asking over 10k for standard GC8s, and upwards past 20,000-25,000 for bug eyes and peanuts. Which, again, if the price is there, you pay for it. Like, if you want something bad enough, you will pay for it. But when we hop into the bug eyes, it's a little bit harder, because the bug eyes have 2 completely different motors between the WRX and the STI. So with the WRX, you have non-AVCS, so you don't have the adjustable cams, whereas with the STIs you do. And you also have the TGVs in the WRX, again, not in the STI. That carries through with the Peanuts and Hawkeyes as well. But for now, just talk about the bugs. But that's where one of the issues is the fact that you need to wire in and change the wiring if you did want to put in a bug-eye STI motor, just because of the AVCS. Yes, you can use the short block and add the heads, but it does tend to add up a little bit. And again, everything underneath does bolt in, the seats bolt in. Literally everything that makes an STI, apart from the VIN, can be added to the bug-eye. And then when we get to the Peanuts, they are even closer to their STI counterparts, because they do have AVCS. They still have the TGVs though. So converting one of those is even easier than the bug eyes because you can drop the motor in and your wiring loom will still work. I don't believe you need to change any wires over on the ECU. You may have to. Obviously, you'll have to get it tuned or use the STI ECU so you get rid of the TGVs. It all comes down to how you feel about the car. So I've had customers that have taken naturally aspirated front wheel drive cars to 2.5 litre all wheel drive race monsters that are just absolutely insane. So when you get an STI, one of the main things that holds a car's value is the originality of it. So the more original you keep your car, the more, in theory, the price will go up in the future. So if you were to get just a normal WRX and modify it past an STI, so you add the bigger motor, the big turbos and all that kind of stuff, you're not so much damaging the value of the car. Yes, you will add a little bit of value, but modifying a car never adds as much as an original car. So when you look at a standard STI compared to a mock-up STI, yes, people will still spend more on the original STI unless the mock-up is insane, like crazy. I've had a few friends who have had things that are well and truly worth more than an STI, that it's just a WRX. But yeah, you need to keep in mind that everyone's their own person. I'm not a fan of putting big wings on the naturally aspirated. Heck, I'm not even a huge fan of having them on the GDs. I was a small wing or no wing kind of guy just because I thought it looked cleaner. But again, everyone has their own choices and can do what they want. So just remember, don't go picking on people about their choices and which way they decide to go about it, because you can spend the money on an STI and it's still just an STI, or you can spend a heap of money just to have a WRX, which I guess if you have the money, it's probably better to throw money at the STI than the WRX, because in theory you could always undo the mods and go back to standard just to get the value. But again, it's up to you. But if you've enjoyed this real quick video, make sure you like, comment, share and subscribe, and join us on Thursday nights at 7:30 PM over on our 3P Garage Live, where we talk all about cars. I don't think we're going to have much more this year, but hopefully we'll see you there for the last few. And yeah, it's live on Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Sorry, I forgot about that. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. See you. The current car market does hurt me, considering I tried to sell a built STI 2 years ago or 3 years ago for $8,000 that needed a throwout bearing, and people didn't want it, so I had to pull my genuine STI apart, and that hurt just a little bit. But yeah, what do? There's one less out there now, so if you got a bug eye, keep it.